I'm Rick Meyer with the Montgomery County Coalition for the Control of Cell Towers, and I want to begin with a heartfelt thanks to the current members of the council and to the former members who listened to the concerns of Montgomery County residents and agreed to reject the prior 3 ZTAs that were presented, 1605, portions of 1802, and 1811, that would have made it even faster, easier, and cheaper for the wireless industry to install obtrusive cell poles on the public rights-of-way inside residential neighborhoods. Last year, we presented extensive testimony to the council about dozens of non-compliant cell poles scattered all over the county that are too tall, installed without conditional use hearings, have oversized antennas, are inside minimum setbacks, and are even in the wrong locations. So you can imagine how thunderstruck we were when the press release introducing ZTA 1907 included this phrase: residents will continue to have a voice in the process to argue that there are less obtrusive locations. Let me tell you about how residents do not have a voice in the process. Current ordinances do not require any written notices or signs to alert us of pending applications for limited use wireless facilities. And even if you did know that a wireless facility was being considered, you're not allowed to speak at the Tower Committee. Only applicants may speak on behalf of applications at the Tower Committee. And then you say to yourself, well, that's okay, you can still submit written comments. Well, no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the Tower Committee, and it's been verified by the Office of the Inspector General, has said they don't have to listen to public input, and our experience is they typically do not. Okay, you say, so wait a minute, we've still got DPS. Well, the Department of Permitting Services last year in testimony before this council admitted that they have done no coordination for 20 years with the Tower Committee. They have done no coordination to ever check what the Tower Committee was recommending. And at the icing on the cake, we heard the head of DPS last year tell us that there has been a grand total of one enforcement action in 20 years, even though we've documented dozens of non-compliant poles. We urge you tonight to consider a better way. I think you heard from the county executive's representative that there is a better way forward. ZTA 1907 does not protect residents. It's not the way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, President Navarro, and thank you for your service this year as President. Members of the Council, my name is Harriet Quinn. I'm here on behalf of the Montgomery County Civic Federation as Planning and Land Use Chair and a member of the Executive Committee. Some of our member organizations are located in neighborhoods with underground utilities, while others have above-ground utilities. Each situation has its own set of issues with regard to implementation, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. This is the 4th time we've appeared before you on this issue, and we continue to oppose the ZTA's reduction of due process for residents. Our prior testimony demonstrated an eagerness to work with you on helping to address the very flawed tower review and permitting process, and we proposed better alternatives. We thank those of you who worked with us in the past, and we look forward to continuing that work. So just to review, small cells are now allowed in all commercial and residential, in all commercial and non-residential zones with a 10-foot setback. This is in addition to the antennas on existing structures allowed in residential areas with a 60-foot setback, as well as new poles with a 300-foot setback, which can be substantially reduced by the hearing examiner. These provisions do not constitute a prohibition of service. Council was told last year that it was urgent to pass ZTA 1802 to enable the towers in the dense commercial zones, which would have the highest demand. But in the year and a half since passage of 1802, only one small cell node was placed in all of our in all of our business districts in Silver Spring, Bethesda, Wheaton, and White Flint. Just one. So to summarize, we can do better, and we have time to do better. We respectfully request that, given that most areas of the county are already open for small cell deployment, and given the decision in the D.C. Circuit and the issues pending in the Ninth Circuit, including 2 legal challenges by Montgomery County, And given the well-documented flaws and understaffing, excuse me, of the tower and antenna review permitting process, it would not be prudent for you to adopt the ZTA at this time, and we ask you to oppose it. Further, as we previously requested, please adopt comprehensive reform of the tower antenna review and permitting process, including a provision that requires post-installation inspection and certification so that the poles are in the correct place and operating safely. This reform should occur before any additional legislation is adopted. Finally, we ask that you restore the funding to the Office of the People's Council, which is in the county charter. The council has withheld this funding of a mere $260,000 for more than 9 years, which is not in the public interest. Thank you very much.
Ms. Quinn.
Council members, we are here once again because, in part, according to ZTA 1907, the residential areas with underground utilities will need, in our front yards, 30-foot, 18-inch wide metal cell towers topped with antennas that will spew 5G millimeter wave radiation into the environment, our homes, and into our bodies. In February 2019, Senator Richard Blumenthal asked representatives from the wireless companies if there is research that indicates that 5G is safe. They said there is none. Let me restate that. According to the wireless companies, there is no research that indicates that 5G is safe. In fact, over 179,000 scientists, engineers, and medical professionals have warned about the dangers of 5G in the international appeal to stop 5G on Earth and in space. According to their recent appeal, the deployment of 5G constitutes an experiment on humanity and the environment, and that is defined as a crime under international law. Additionally, Montgomery County has litigation pending before the Ninth Federal Circuit Court, which seeks proper radio frequency health emission standards. And members of the Montgomery County delegation said there are no preemption bills on the horizon at the state level. On the map I included with my testimony, you will see two very distinct clusters of proposed towers in areas with underground utilities. About 10 years ago, Verizon installed Fios wires in our front yards, which eventually will require maintenance. But it has been said that Verizon doesn't want to spend the money to maintain those wires or to expand Fios. Apparently, Verizon would prefer to shoot millimeter wave radiation into our neighborhoods, which would require the massive radiation spewing 5G towers. Pepco maintains their wires. Verizon should do the same. Bottom line, there is no compelling reason to pass this industry-written ZTA at this time and to expose your constituents to a smog of millimeter wave radiation when there is nothing to recommend it and so much that urges caution. Your job is to protect the health and well-being of the residents of Montgomery County, not to cater to the FCC or the wireless companies. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're going to move on to Group D. Thank you so much for testifying this evening. There's a button there at the base of the microphone. There you go.
Is it on now?
Yes, it is on.
Thank you very much for letting me speak with you this evening. My name is Anna Pritchard. I live in Silver Spring. I've lived there since 1965, and I attest and affirm that the following statements are true, accurate, and within my personal knowledge. I worked as a registered nurse for 35 years and have a bachelor's degree from American University and a doctorate degree in naturopathy from the Clayton College of Natural Health. In addition to helping people regain and maintain their health naturally, I'm employed 1.5 days a week at the Montgomery County Senior Center, and I volunteer at Shepherd's Table. I do not consent to additional radio frequency microwave radiation. I have had a personal experience with negative effects from radio frequency microwave radiation. I noticed that I had a significant decline in my cognitive abilities and memory and learning. I was very worried about it. I was about to go to my doctor to discuss it with her, but a friend recommended that an electrical engineer would come to my house, and he did come and found that my wireless phone was up against the wall, on the other side of which was my bed, right where my head laid during the night, and that I had a gas smart meter on my house, among other problems. So after keeping my cordless phone unplugged and getting the gas smart meter removed, very soon after that my cognitive abilities came back to normal. If I had gone to my doctor and told her my symptoms, I probably would have gotten diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. But it was not me. It was the radiation that was affecting me. So there have been so many studies, tens of thousands of studies, showing great harm with even 3 and 4G to all living organisms. Dr. Martin Paul, PhD in biochemistry and genetics, found that radiofrequency microwave radiation damages the DNA and all the other small, delicate parts of the cells, which lead to a huge amount of inflammation, causing many degenerative disorders, including cancer, autism, neurological diseases, ADHD, blood-brain barrier permeability, decreased immunity, and many more. These are very serious impairments and illnesses that take away life. I feel that the rushed deployment of 5G radiation in close proximity to our homes, schools, etc., before we have time to study its safety is irresponsible, un-American, and unconstitutional. Respectfully, I ask that, I know that, and I say this respectfully, that you all took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And in the preamble of the Constitution, it says that you will promote the general welfare, which means the concern of the government for the health and safety of its citizens. So I respectfully urge you to look into the dangers of this radiation so that...
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will consider the rest of your testimony. Laura Simon. There's a button there at the base. I can't really see. Just press it and see. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, my name's Laura Simon. Good evening, and thanks for letting us speak tonight and voice our concerns. I'm a mother of 4 kids, 1 child with a chronic health issue, and I know all too well how priceless good health is. I live with the task of trying to help one of my children heal night and day, and it is all-consuming. I have real health concerns about the safety of what we are about to unleash in our neighborhoods. Unbeknownst to most of the county residents, the neighbors I speak with are really upset about this. They don't know, they didn't know how 5G was going to be implemented, and they're really shocked that the council would take such liberty with their health without them understanding what the implementation of 5G means in the neighborhoods. There are many experts who are concerned about the health hazards from wireless radiation exposure. We haven't yet dealt with our responsibility to protect human health from today's exposures, and are we ready to add another layer, this time a mini cell tower for every 2 to 5 houses? We're talking about adding hundreds of thousands of mini cell towers in front of homes. It's a lot of radiation without consent or any conclusions on the safety of 5G. The Maryland Children's Environmental Health and Protection Advisory Council, created by the General Assembly to identify environmental hazards that may affect children's health, recommended in 2016 that the Maryland Department of Health and Mental Hygiene ask the United States Department of Health and Human Services to formally petition the FCC to revisit the exposure limit to ensure it is protective of children's health and that it relies on current science. The United States National Toxicology Program, MTP, NIH study that looked at non-thermal heating that the FCC guidelines do not account for and have yet to account for found clear evidence of cancer. Otis W. Brawley, an MD and American Cancer Society Chief Medical Officer, at the time of the initial release of results from the study said, so this is from American Cancer Society, not Russian agents, this report from the National Toxicology Program, MTP, is good science. The MTP report linking radiofrequency radiation to 2 types of cancer marks a paradigm shift in our understanding of radiation and cancer. The findings are unexpected. We wouldn't reasonably expect non-ionizing radiation to cause these tumors. This is a striking example of why serious study is so important in evaluating a cancer risk. Even if you want to dismiss these experts, other people will not, and this will have a real impact on our home values. A real estate appraiser, an expert witness for over 30 years in our community, commented that, irrespective of how one feels about the health issues, if the proposed towers are placed in our front yards, there's a very real probability of diminishing our property value and personal wealth considerably. I hope you'll act to
Thank you
protect
so
the
much, Ms.
children.
Simon. We'll
Thank
consider the
you.
rest of your testimony.